What's happening, YTBC? I didn't get my slugfest, my motherfucking slugfest is what I was expected in this fight. You know, I sort of built myself up hoping that these two fuckers would actually give me that slugfest. But in hindsight, if I'm actually totally honest with myself, I wasn't really expecting it from these two. So it is what it is. I'm just gonna first of all get all the niceties and pleasantries out of the way. Congratulations to Canelo Alvarez for a spectacular knockout victory against Amir Khan. You know, he did what he had to do, what was expected. You know, he got the guy out of there, and you can't ask any more than that. So he gets all the credit in the world. Whereas for Amir Khan, I'm just gonna give you my post-fight thoughts. First things first, as I was going through the fight, I was thinking to myself, what is Amir Khan, what was happening in Amir Khan's training camp? Amir Khan's got one of the best trainers in the world in his training camp, in Virgil Hunter. And I was just thinking, as I was going through and watching what was going on, I was thinking, I don't think Amir Khan was listening to Virgil Hunter during training camp. I don't think he was listening to him at all. Because as the fight was going on, Amir Khan the movement of Amir Khan, he was constantly moving into Canelo Alvarez's power zone. And that's his right hand. He was just constantly moving towards his right hand. And I was like, looking at this, I'm thinking, what was going on in training camp? Because the first things first is, when you're fighting an orthodox fighter, if your movement should be to your right as the fighter, and that's to the orthodox fighter's left. So thereby moving away from the power hand, which is their right hand. And obviously, vice versa, if you're fighting a southpaw, you'll be moving as the fighter towards your left, which is the southpaw's right side, away from the southpaw's power hand. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, Amir Khan just constantly was moving into Canelo's power zone. And basically, Amir Khan was like a knockout waiting to happen. Basically. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you would obviously you're not listening to your trainer, because basically fights are won way before any punch is thrown, and that the foundations of winning the fight are made in training camp. Naturally, having said that, it can also go the other way around, where you can also lose a fight in training camp. So fights are won and lost in training camp. And I just couldn't, for the life of me, fathom what exactly Amir Khan was trying to do in there. For me, it didn't make any sense. The movement just didn't make sense to me. Canelo was poised, he was calm. He knew Amir Khan was going to move a lot. That's a given. But, the placement of the punches, especially in the second round, Canelo was, you can see what he was thinking. He was thinking, okay, fine, this guy's moving a lot. But, as he started to tattoo, hitting those body punches onto Amir Khan's, midriff, you can see what Canelo was thinking. He was like, okay, I'm going to obviously tax that body and slow him down. And you can literally see, to be honest with you, one thing I wanted to say also is that I fully expected this fight to actually last, a little bit shorter than it did. Amir Khan lasted 2 more rounds longer than I actually expected this fight to last. I was fully expecting this fight to last 4 rounds, which Canelo was going to knock him out in 4. So if I'm going to give Amir Khan any sort of credit, I'll just give him credit for lasting an extra 2 rounds. But I could see what Canelo was thinking. It made sense. Fine, this guy's moving around a little bit erratically. Fine. It looked, probably some people looked good to some people. To me, it just looked, I couldn't understand what was the thought process there, but fine. But Canelo was, okay, I'm going to break down his body. I'm going to get some body punches in there. And then, obviously, I'm going to time it. And you can see as he was timing it. To be honest with you, the knockout, if you actually watch the middle of the 4th round, Canelo had, you can see that Canelo was planned. That knockout that happened was planned in the 4th round. Because Canelo, just by inches missed the right hand because Khan was wide open for that knockout in the 4th round. He just missed it. So you can see the thought process of Canelo. So it's okay, fine. I'm gonna obviously work on the body, and that's what he did. And it was beautifully executed in the 6th round. Beautifully. Khan was very, very lucky that he was not anywhere near the ropes, because if he was anywhere near those ropes, I think he would have been badly hurt, because Canelo wouldn't have stopped punching. He wouldn't have stopped. He would have actually taken Amir Khan right out of there if he was closer to the ropes, because obviously Khan would have fallen back to the ropes, and then Canelo would have probably landed 1 or 2 extra, in there. So I'll give Canelo all the credit. People are like, oh well, I have to give Khan the credit for stepping up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo. No. Because the only way I'm going to give Khan, if you were going to give Khan any sort of credit for stepping up 2 weight classes, if Amir Khan had been a champion in the weight class he came up from, then I would have given him the credit. So if you're an Amir Khan fan, you're expecting people to give him credit for stepping in the ring for Canelo. No, he gets no credit for me whatsoever, none. Because he didn't prove anything. He just proved the fact that he was even more of a, KO waiting to happen. It was a dumb decision. And this is not hindsight. It was a stupid decision. I'm fully convinced that Amir Khan's management team, his family, don't give a shit about him. All they care about is the money. Because if they really cared about him, they would have taken the Brook fight. Because they would have made exactly the same amount of money they would have made with Brook. And Amir Khan had a better chance of being a champion, beating Brook. Because basically, Amir Khan had fought better competition than Brook. Whether we like to admit it or not, Amir Khan had fought, maybe not a welterweight, but overall, Amir Khan had a better opportunity than Brook. Because basically, if he fought in the UK, the pressure would have been on Brook. It would have been a huge pressure on Brook. Amir Khan would have been, had his fan base there, and he had a good chance. And just imagine if he actually beat Brook, and then stepped up 2 weight classes, then he would have get the credit. Go, yeah, fair, that takes balls. It doesn't take balls fighting a guy who's 2 weight classes bigger than you. He had no chance. If you honestly thought that Amir Khan had a chance of beating Canelo in this fight, you must be in the fucking cloud cuckoo land. You must be out of your mind if you actually gave Amir Khan a chance. I know real boxing fans didn't give Amir Khan no shot whatsoever. I know, but obviously you had 1 or 2 here and there who, wanted to try and, upset the odds. But the reality is he had no chance whatsoever. That was not there. So whatever credit you think you want to give Amir Khan, well, that's on you. I just can't see it. I'm sorry. Because now, what options has he got, Amir Khan? What options? Is he going to go start fighting Brook now? Because if you honestly think he's going to fight Garcia, fine. But what is it going to achieve for Garcia? Nothing. What's Garcia going to get? What, he's already knocked him out, so he's going to knock him out again. Amir Khan glass chin. It just don't make any sense. Keith Thurman must be laughing his head off thinking, oh my god, this guy actually thought he was something. It's kind of embarrassing, Amir Khan. It's embarrassing. It is hugely embarrassing because it's like he just fucked up his career. I'm sorry, he has. Messed it right up. So it's not lay off Amir Khan or shit on Amir Khan or hit on Amir Khan. This is not something that's new. I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before. So if you're an Amir Khan fan or fanboy or fuckboy, if you want me to give Amir Khan credit, then you have to admit as a fan or fanboy or fuckboy that Amir Khan is not as good as he thinks he is. You have to admit it. It's not a question of having heart. Fighters have heart. It takes heart. Every single fighter who steps in the ring has heart. So I don't want to hear this, Amir Khan has heart. Fuck that shit. Every fighter who steps in the ring, who actually gets in there, has heart. It takes heart to get in the ring. So I don't want to hear that. So anyways, I'll get back to Canelo. So Canelo now, I'm fully expecting you now to take on Triple G. That's the natural fight. That's a fight that should happen. But at the same time, it's kind of obvious who doesn't want Canelo to, fight Triple G. And it's not Canelo himself. So, I don't want to hear that shit. Canelo wants to fight Triple G. There is no doubt whatsoever. Canelo has proven it before, time and time again. He takes fights. He, as an individual, takes fights. The problem is his management team in Oscar De La Hoya and those who are advising him. They don't have as much faith in Canelo that they should do. They don't have as much faith, which is a strange situation, because I personally think that Canelo has a really good chance of beating Triple G right now. Say what you say, Canelo has fought the better competition. Canelo has been fighting a similar amount of years as Triple G. Similar. It's kind of sad. It's a huge indictment on Triple G and his management team. It's a joke. Triple G and his management team have been an absolute joke. Because here's a guy who's been fighting similar amount of years as you, but is 10 years younger than you, and you are in the position that you are in. Triple G should have been multiple champions years ago if he was that good. That's the point. If he was that good, I don't think he's that good. I've already made videos saying I don't think that Triple G is a hype job. It is obvious. When you fight shit competition and knock them out, it always makes you look spectacular. I would look spectacular knocking out these fucking bums, fuckboys, all these individuals who are not nowhere near the level that Triple G should be fighting at. I would look spectacular myself if I was fighting that level of competition. But when you step up in competition, that's when you know whether somebody's good or not. That's exactly where you know. And this is the problem I have with Triple G. But now they're trying to shit on Canelo. Oh yeah, he doesn't want... Well, hang on a second. At the end of the day, who has all the chips in the side? You think Triple G has all the chips? And if you honestly think, and that's another thing, if you actually think that WBC are going to strip Canelo of his title because he doesn't fight Triple G, you are in cloud cuckoo land. You need to come back from wherever you're smoking if you honestly think that shit. That is not going to happen. So if you honestly, I think that's what Triple G's management team are banking on, that the WBC are going to strip Canelo. That ain't going to happen. No chance. So it all comes down to this. All the chips are on Triple G's, on Canelo's side. All the chips. Canelo has all the chips. He's the one bringing in the interest. He's the one bringing in all the revenue. So at the end of the day, Triple G and his management team have to realize that in this world of boxing that we have today, it's not like years ago. In the world of boxing we have today, they have to give up something. And Triple G, in all due respect to Triple G, it will be the weight. Whether he likes it or not, it will be the weight. I don't personally like it. I don't care, to be honest with you. I just want to see the fight. But at the same time, I understand that if this fight is going to happen, something's going to give. And it's going to be the weight. That's what's going to happen. I don't think... And there's nothing else that Triple G can offer Canelo. Nothing else. So Canelo will dictate terms. Whether you like it or not as a Triple G fan, that's the way it's going to be. And I don't want Canelo fans thinking, oh, well, Canelo's made it, he's the top of the world. Fuck that shit. Don't start being a fanboy fuckboy now. At the end of the day, Canelo's a good fighter. I'll give him that. Canelo gets in there and fights people. I'll give him that. But at the same time, he needs to fight Triple G. Everybody knows that. And that's another thing. Virgil, I am disappointed of you, in the post-fight thingy. You know what? I mean, I can understand. Can't being a fuckboy trying to dictate who another fighter should fight. Dumb. His dumbass. Obviously, the KO is still in the effects of his head. He still have full in the effects of that KO. But Virgil, what is the matter with you, man? You shouldn't be fucking lowering yourself to that bullshit. I know the money is good. I understand that. I know you're getting paid. I get it. But really and truly, Virgil, don't sort of, you're kind of letting down your legacy by letting people like Amir Khan sort of say stupid dumb shit and you co-sign that dumb shit. So anyways, if Amir Khan is so much of a, has so much balls, I don't know where he goes from here. He should have taken the Kell Brook fight. That would have shown balls. There's no showing balls fighting Canelo. That don't show anything. That proves nothing. You get knocked out. You got knocked the fuck out. That's it. Now Canelo, let's see what you got. Get Triple G in the ring. Do what you need to do. Get him in the ring and do what you do. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Canelo has a really fantastic chance of knocking out Triple G. I think he's beating him and knocking him out. I personally think he has. I think people are sleeping on Canelo. Personally, Canelo's 25. He's 10 years younger than this guy. In the fundamentals of boxing principles states that the younger guy has a better chance than the older guy. In the laws of boxing. It doesn't always work that way. I totally understand, but from the odds, more times than not, the younger guy will beat the older guy more times than not. But obviously, then you have experience that comes into a factor. That's an equalizing factor when it comes down to experience. How you can deal with counteract the youth. Anyway, that's my video, man. Peace.